Boeing plans no major modifications for the 737 MAX flight deck, as it wants to maintain commonality with the 737 next-generation family. Boeing Commercial Airplanes CEO Jim Alborf said in 2011 that adding more fly-by-wire control systems would be very minimal. 122. However, the 737 MAX extended spoilers are fly-by-wire controlled. 118. Most of the systems are carried from the 737 to allow for a short differences training course to upgrade flight crews. 24. In addition to the speed trim system, STS, the automatic stabilizer control system has been enhanced to include MCAS. Compared to STS, MCAS has greater authority and cannot be disengaged with the aft and forward column cutout switches. The center console stabilizer trim cutout switches have been rewired. Unlike previous versions of 737, the automatic stabilizer trim control functions cannot be turned off while retaining electric trim switch S functionality. 123. MCAS was deemed necessary by Boeing to meet its internal objective of minimizing training requirements for pilots already qualified on the 737A. MCAS was to automatically mitigate the pitch-up tendency of the new flight geometry due to the engines being located further forward and higher than on previous 737 models. 124. During a reassessment of the aircraft in February 2020, both FAA and EASA determined that the stability and stall characteristics of the plane would have been acceptable with or without MCAS. 125. As a production standard, the 737 MAX features the Boeing Sky interior with overhead bins and LED lighting based on the Boeing 787's interior. 126. Engines. CFM LEAP engine nacelle with springs for noise reduction in 2011. The CFM LEAP 1B engine was initially 10-12% more efficient than the previous 61-inch, 156 cm, CFM 56-7B of the 737. 127. The 18-blade woven carbon fiber fan enables a 9:1 bypass ratio, up from 5:11 with the previous 24-blade titanium fan, for a 40% smaller noise footprint. 24. The CFM 56 bypass ranges from 5:11 to 5:51. 128. The two-spool design has a low-pressure section comprising the fan and 3 booster stages driven by 5 axial turbine stages and a high-pressure section with a 10-stage axial compressor driven by a 2-stage turbine. 24. The 41:1 overall pressure ratio increased from 28:1, and advanced hot section materials enabling higher operating temperatures permit a 15% reduction in thrust-specific fuel consumption, TSFC, along with 20% lower carbon emissions, 50% lower nitrogen oxide emissions. Though each engine weighs 849 pounds, 385 kilograms, more at 6,129 pounds, 2,780 kilograms. 24. In August 2011, Boeing had to choose between 66-inch, 168 centimeters, or 68-inch, 173 centimeters, fan diameters, necessitating landing gear changes to maintain a 17-in, 43 centimeters, ground clearance beneath the new engines. Boeing Commercial Airplanes Chief Executive Officer Jim Alborf stated, with a bigger fan you get more efficiency because of the bypass ratio, but also more weight and more drag, with more airframe changes. 129. In November 2011, Boeing selected the larger fan diameter, necessitating a 6/8-in, 15-20 centimeters, longer nose landing gear. 130. 131. In May 2012, Boeing further enlarged the fan to 69.4 in, 176 centimeters, paired with a smaller engine core within minor design changes before the mid-2013 final configuration. 132, 133. The nacelle features chevrons for noise reduction like the 787. 134. A new bleed air digital regulator will improve its reliability. 135. The new nacelles, being larger and more forward, possess aerodynamic properties which act to further increase the pitch rate. The larger engine is cantilevered ahead of and slightly above the wing, and the laminar flow engine nacelle lip skin is a GKN Aerospace one-piece, spun-formed aluminum sheet inspired by the 787. 118. Operational history. After 1 year of service, 130 MAXs had been delivered to 28 customers, logging over 41,000 flights in 118,000 hours and flying over 6.5 million passengers. Fleet Dubai observed 15% more efficiency than the ING, more than the 14% promised, and dependability reached 99.4%. Long routes include 24 over 2,500 nautical miles, 4,630 kilometers, including a daily Aerolíneas Argentinas service from Buenos Aires to Punta Cana over 3,252 mi, 6,023 kilometers. 136. In 2019, Moody's had estimated Boeing's operating margin to be $12-15 million for each 737 MAX 8 at its list price of $121.6 million, although the list price is usually discounted 50-55% in practice. This high margin was made possible by the efficiencies of production volume and the amortization of development costs and capital investment over the decades of the program run. However, costs have since risen significantly and the margin reduced following 2 crashes, the FAA grounding, and the severe disruption to production. 137, 138. Boeing estimated it would cost an additional $6.3 billion to produce the remaining 737 MAX program, $4 billion for future abnormal costs as production restarted, plus an estimated $8.3 billion for concessions and compensation to customers. 139, 140, 141. The rising costs also led Moody's to downgrade Boeing's credit rating. 72. Variants. The 737 to 700, -800 and -900 are the most widespread versions of the previous 737 ING. 142 are succeeded by the 737 MAX 7, MAX 8 and MAX 9, respectively. 143 FAA Type Certificate 737 to 7, -8 and -9, 45. The 737 MAX 8 entered service in May 2017, 2, and the MAX 9 entered service in March 2018. 144. Deliveries for MAX 7 and MAX 200, a higher density version of the MAX 8, were initially expected to begin in 2021, and the MAX 10 in 2023. 145. In February 2018, Boeing forecast that 60-65% of demand for the airliner would be for the 737 MAX 8 variant, 20-25% for the MAX 9 and MAX 10, and 10% for the MAX 7. 146. 737 MAX 7. The 737 MAX 7 at the 2018 Farnborough Airshow, originally based on the 737 to 700. Boeing announced the redesign of the MAX 7, derived from the MAX 8, at the July 2016 Farnborough Air Show, accommodating 2 more seat rows than the 737-700 for 138 seats, up by 12 seats. 147, 148. The redesign uses the 737-8 wing and landing gear, a pair of overwing exits rather than the single-door configuration, a 46-inch longer aft fuselage and a 30-inch longer forward fuselage, structural regauging and strengthening, and systems and interior modifications to accommodate the longer length. 149. It is to fly 1,000 mi, 1,900 kilometers, farther than the -700 with 18% lower fuel costs per seat. Boeing predicts the MAX 7 to carry 12 more passengers 400 mi, 740 kilometers, farther than a 319neo with 7% lower operating costs per seat. 150. In 2016, Boeing planned to improve its range from 3,815 mi, 7,130 kilometers, to 3,915 mi, 7,251 kilometers, after 2021. 151. Production on the first 65-foot-long, 20 m wing spar for the 737-7 began in October 2017. 152. Assembly of the first flight test aircraft began on the 22nd of November, 2017, 153, and was rolled out of the factory on February 5, 2018. 154. The MAX-7 took off for its first flight on the 16th of March, 2018, from the factory in Renton, Washington, and flew for 3 hours over Washington State. 155. It reached 250 knots, 460 kilometers per hour, and 25,000 feet, 7,600 m. Performed a low approach, systems checks and an in-flight engine restart, and landed at Boeing's Flight Test Center in Moses Lake, Washington. 156. Entry into service with launch operator Southwest Airlines was originally expected in January 2019. 152. WestJet also converted its order for MAX 7s, originally due for delivery in 2019, into MAX 8s, not expecting to take any MAX 7s until at least 2021. 157. In March 2021, Southwest placed an order for 100 MAX 7s, 158, and exercise options for another 34 in 2021. 159. Bringing their total orders to 234. WestJet had 22. 150. In July 2022, Southwest announced that it did not expect to receive any MAX 7 aircraft until 2023 due to the ongoing certification delays, and that it would instead take delivery of MAX 8 aircraft in the interim. 160. That same November, Boeing announced that it expects MAX 7 certification in early 2023. 107. 737 MAX 8. A top view of the 737 MAX 8 showing double over-wing exits, the first variant developed in the 737 MAX series. The MAX 8 replaces the 737-800 with a longer fuselage than the MAX 7. In 2016, Boeing planned to improve its range from 3,515 nautical miles, 6,510 kilometers, to 3,610 mi, 6,690 kilometers, after 2021. 151. On the 23rd of July, 2013, Boeing completed the firm configuration for the 737 MAX 8.161. The MAX 8 has a lower empty weight and higher maximum takeoff weight than the A320neo. During a test flight conducted for Aviation Week, while cruising at a true airspeed of 449 knots, 517 miles per hour, 832 kilometers per hour, and a weight of 140,500 pounds, 63,700 kilograms, at a lower than Mach